The question that this parent sent to me was, my daughter says she's fine, but I can see she's struggling. She shuts down whenever I try to talk. What do I do? How do I get through to her? So I want to start by saying something directly to the parent who asked this, because what you are describing there really is a very painful thing about parenting a teenager. You can see her, something is wrong, and she is just like talk to the hand. She won't let you in. And your instinct, which is completely natural, loving parental instinct, is to try harder, to ask again, to ask more, to kind of look for the right moment and the right words, to keep going until she opens up, and then you watch her shut down. And then you feel like you've failed and kind of go to bed wondering what you're missing, what you're doing wrong, what you can do, those early morning thoughts or middle of the night thoughts. So I just want to tell, I'm going to tell you what's missing, and it might surprise you. But before we do that, just like one thing that needs to be really clear here. If your daughter is saying she's fine and you genuinely believe that she isn't, then trust yourself. Your instinct about your child is one of the most finely tuned instincts there is. 20 years of working with families has taught me that, mothers especially, but all the neuroscience is backing that up now. I mean, it is absolutely extraordinary, the neurological and hormonal connections that happen when we are pregnant and give birth and raise a child. So so if something really does feel wrong, off, it probably is. And the fact that she's shutting down is data, it's information. And so we're going to look now at what that's telling you. And I'm just going to start with what is happening in that teenage brain, because pillar 4 of my 7 pillars of empowered parenting framework is the wild ride of adolescence, and it's central to this question. And it changes how you understand it, because what you need to understand is that your daughter's brain is literally under reconstruction. It's having an extension built, it's having lots of things pruned, and that prefrontal cortex, that part, the upstairs brain that handles self-awareness, emotional regulation, planning, that part that would allow her to sit down with you and calmly articulate what she's feeling, it's not finished being built. And actually, bad news for you, it's not going to be finished until her mid-20s. And meanwhile, the security center, the amygdala, the emotional alarm system, the part that will respond to threat and danger by flipping the lid on the thinking brain, that is really very fully wired and very, very sensitive. So what that means in practice is that when you ask her, how is she? And she says, fine, she may genuinely not be able to give you a better answer. Not because, she doesn't trust you, not because she doesn't want your help, but because that part of her brain that would translate her own emotional weather into words is not yet reliably online and fully formed. She's feeling everything, but doesn't have access to a language for it. And the other part of that restructuring of the adolescent brain is that research, this is so interesting, research, and it explains a lot. Lots of research has been done on parents having completely neutral facial expressions and having a very calm tone of voice and a concerned question. So things that you as an adult would experience as, if a friend did that to you, as warm and caring, her brain, a teenager's brain at this stage of development, is actually likely to process that as threatening. And the science is in on that. teenagers are, I can't remember the percentage offhand, but they are genuinely likely to misread emotional cues far more often than adults do. And just a little side note, sometimes, with adults, we might tap into their teenage brain to unresolved teenage pain. And that's why you sometimes see adults that suddenly behave like teenagers. Just saying, just bracket that one. But that question that feels supportive to you can land in a teenager's nervous system as kind of interrogation, pressure, scrutiny. And sometimes when that nervous system feels under scrutiny, it does the usual things. It does fight, it does fleeing, it does freezing. And when they're not reacting, they're freezing. And it's kind of, I want you to see that that's not resistant to you. It's just a nervous system doing what it's designed to do. So the shutting down is not about you. It's really important because we so easily make it about our reaction. It's not about her being difficult. It is a brain and a nervous system responding to what is interpreted in that moment as a kind of a form of danger, even though you're her mother, even though you love her, even though your only intention is to help her. Okay, so I hope you get that. But where does it leave you? That's the question, isn't it? Because understanding that neuroscience of it is one thing, but we still have, it's still our daughter and she's still in pain. So the first kind of very important foundational pillar of the empowered parenting framework is emotions education. And then we're also going to look at the other pillar 5, I think it is, of rupture and repair, because they become your tools. And you might find this counterintuitive, but the way to get through to a teenager who's shutting down is not to try harder to get in. It's to stop knocking. It's to take the pressure off. Like every time you say, "Are you okay? I can see you're not fine. Please talk to me." However gently that is meant, you are putting your child in a position where she's kind of needing to perform an emotional articulation that she can't manage. And the gap between what you're asking for and what she can give has the potential to create shame. Shame that she's not okay. Shame that she can't explain it. And I do see that a lot. And shame that, that she's causing you to worry about her. And shame, above almost any other emotion, makes us close down. So the first practical step is this. Stop asking direct questions. For a while, completely stop it. No, how are you really? Or no, I know something's wrong. Tell mummy and I'll sort it out. And I know that sounds almost impossible when you're worried, but just stay with me. What you do instead is be close without this agenda to find anything out. This is what I kind of, proximity without pressure. You're cooking in the kitchen, she's sitting at the table, doing some work or on her phone. You're sitting with her watching something she likes, even though you can't stand it. Lord knows I have watched so much rubbish in my life just to sit next to my teenagers. You drive her somewhere and you talk about something completely inconsequential. You comment on something funny you saw. You don't make it about her feelings. And that's how you kind of build that safety, and you send a signal to her nervous system that says, I'm here, I'm not interrogating you, you're not in trouble, it's just us. And over time, safety is what opens everybody up, not just teenagers, not questions. And those side-by-side conversations, there's absolutely research on this that confirms what every parent will discover, at some point or other, that teenagers talk more when they're not being looked at in the car, on a walk, while you're doing something together that gives them somewhere else to look instead of direct or eye contact. Because that direct face-to-face eye contact can activate their threat response, because they're all already so sensitive, in that adult brain. So side by side just lets the nervous system relax enough for words to come and for for the safety of the pause and the space. And then the third thing is the fifth pillar about when there's rupture and how you repair it, which is so fundamental to parenting teenagers. And it applies here, even though there hasn't been a kind of obvious big blow up or meltdown. But just consider going to your daughter and saying, you know, something, but absolutely not in a kind of tense, loaded moment when things are calm and easy. Something like, you know, I've been thinking and I think I've been putting you under pressure to talk, and I'm really sorry. I just love you. And I want you to know I'm not going anywhere. And whenever you're ready, you know, I'm here. And don't worry about what I feel. My worry, that's for me to deal with. That's not for you to deal with. So kind of short with no follow-up questions. Absolutely not. So do you want to talk now? Just put it down and walk away. And what it does is, you know, first it takes the pressure off her, and second it repairs something that she may not even have told you was broken, which is the sense that she's been disappointing you by not opening up. And like that pillar is built on one idea. Every repair, know that you initiate, no matter how small, sends the message, I will always come back to you. And that's the foundation on which trust is built. And then fourth thing, which is from pillar 7, which is about the growth of self-worth, is start really noticing her. Not her feelings, her. Notice what she does, the things she's good at, the things she cares about. You know, when you say, or you seem sad lately, even with love, it kind of puts her as a problem. But when you say, that was really funny and you're so quick, and I noticed you were really kind to your little cousin, you're finding her as a person. And, you know, I think we all know, because we've been there, adolescent self-worth is very fragile and enormously dependent on us validating it, mirroring it. And when you reflect back to her about who she is and that she matters, that, you know, that starts then becoming her truth. And then the last one is look at yourself. And that's the second pillar, resourcing yourself first. And I really say this with care and compassion. How are you showing up in that moment when you get worried, when you are approaching her? Are you calm? Have you regulated your nervous system? Or are you carrying your worry like into every interaction with her? Because if she can sense, even if it's unconsciously, that your emotional state depends on her being happy and okay, that's a burden. It's not for her to fix whatever your worry is ever. And if she knows that she's causing you to worry, even though it's not, you know, that's not her problem, that can actually mean that she'll shut down even more. You know, it's kind of her being fine. She's doing that to protect you. So I hope that makes sense. It might be a bit hard to hear. And your regulated calm is a gift to her. Not pretending that you're fine, feelings inside not expressed, but your genuinely regulated, steady, non-panic presence. That's what allows her to eventually stop being feelings inside not expressed in front of you. Okay, ask me questions in the comments if there's something I haven't explained around this question. But there is just one more thing I want to say. There are situations where your teenager is shutting down in more than that ordinary adolescent sort of guardedness and not quite knowing how to put it into words. You know, if you feel she's withdrawn from friends as well as from you, if you think she's bed rotting, staying in bed, shutting down, being in her bedroom all day, if she stopped doing what she used to enjoy, then, you know, and the other thing to look out for, if sleep has changed, anything around eating, if there are any signs of self-harm, they are signals that she needs perhaps more support than a changed approach from you can provide. So if that's what's going on, don't wait. You can start with a WayForward consultation with me, which is just a conversation between us about what's going on, because it's very important with children and teenagers, perhaps, well, both of them as much, that you get the right person to help with the problem from the beginning, because they might not give you a second chance if the first option doesn't work. So that's really what the conversation with me is about. So if you feel that's what's going on, then get in touch and know, most of all, that she knows you're staying close. She knows you love her. She knows you're there, and you're watching her and you're asking the question, and she knows that means you love her, and it is reaching her even when it looks like it isn't. It's going in. So don't try and get in. Stay nearby. Keep the light on. Be the safe place she can come back to when she's ready, and she will come back. They always do. So that was the question this week.